I have recently read the US Constitution from cover to cover. I know, very patriotic of me, even though I'm not even American. But even though we know the majority of the things inside the supreme law of the land, here are 5 things that you might not know about it. Number 1 is that you can read it from cover to cover in less than 30 minutes. The Constitution is very brief. It only has 7 articles, and a small edition like this one is less than 40 pages. This is the reason I read it. I got pretty interested in it when I did the politics videos before the election and ordered one on Amazon, which I ended up reading in one sitting on a Saturday. It's nerdy, but I do think everyone should read it at some point in their lives. The second one is that individual income taxes were kind of illegal by the Constitution when it was created. Article 1, Section 9 of the US Constitution required that direct taxes, such as income taxes, had to be apportioned among the states based on population. So, you couldn't have an income tax on people, but rather a tax bill that was paid by the states based on the state's portion of the population of the entire country. It wasn't until 1913, when Amendment 16 was passed, that eliminated the requirement of apportionment, so basically Congress could tax people on an individual basis. And that gave a higher prominence to individual income taxes like we have today. The third one, more of a simpler one that you might know, is that the Constitution created the Electoral College for the elections of the President and the Vice President. The Electoral College was created among many things because the framers wanted to avoid the big states from basically bullying the smaller states. And honestly, because the framers feared that people were too dumb to choose a president themselves. Sometimes. So they created this institution where the shocking aspect is that a president can be elected even by losing the popular vote, like it happened with these presidents. The fourth one is that the Bill of Rights was not part of the Constitution originally. The Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, which were designed to protect the individual liberties and to limit the power of the federal government. So, to put it into perspective, the US was founded in 1776. Then the Constitution was created in 1787. But what most people don't realize is that it wasn't until 1791 that they decided to ratify the Bill of Rights, securing things like freedom of religion, speech, and the right to bear arms. And number 5, and honestly the craziest for me, is how late Amendment 19 was ratified, which is the one that granted women the right to vote. Amendment 19 was ratified in 1920. That's like no time ago. The Constitution was created in 1787, and women couldn't vote. Then they analyzed it and passed Amendment 15 in 1870, which allowed all races to vote, and still, women couldn't vote. It wasn't until 1920 that an amendment was passed to make it legal for women to vote. So it took them a full constitution, 18 amendments, and even the prohibition of alcohol to actually analyze it and make it legal for women to vote. This is probably the most shocking fact of the entire Constitution for me. Voting discrimination based on sex is not even a debate nowadays, but it's important to remember that that was not the case until a mere 100 years ago. So, we've definitely come a long way in this aspect. And I know what you might be thinking. I didn't talk about slavery and how it was kind of involved in the Constitution, but remember that this video are about things that you probably didn't know, and I'm guessing you already knew about that. To conclude, taking out some horrendous viewpoints of the time, like slavery, sexism, and a few others, I truly believe the US Constitution is a truly remarkable piece of work, and that the framers were brilliant for coming up with it. The Constitution was written in only 4 months, and they were able to make it so specific but yet so simple that to this day, it is the oldest constitution of any country in the world. The Constitution truly is a living and breathing document, and I think you should read it and find it out yourself. See you next time. Peace! And a special shout out to my US government teacher, Mr. Nicosia, to my US history teacher, Mr. Martinez, and to my former teacher and friend, Mr. Jordan, who all inspired me to make this video by creating an interest when I was in high school. Peace.